Hello and welcome back to Two Chicks in a Horror Flick. I'm Tawny Ray.
And I'm Felicia Connor.
And today we are talking about the movie Otis from 2008, which was my mom's pick because we're doing some mother's picks in the beginning of this month. And let's put that on hold and just shoot the shit a little bit.
Yeah.
First of all, Felicia, what are you drinking?
Tawny, I am drinking Buffalo Trace neat.
How does it feel to come back to the Buffalo Trace after some time? It seems like.
Yeah, a lot of time. It is good. It has, what am I trying to, okay, wow. What just happened? So many words wanted to come out. It has like a good, simple flavor. I feel like a lot of the whiskeys that I drink of Steve's, they're more complex, I guess. Like they have more of a burn, more different kind of notes or flavors in it. And so then when I came back to this, it was really simple. Where I started with this, and I didn't think that at all. I was like, whoa, I'm drinking whiskey neat. Okay. Because some of the stuff he has is a really, really high proof as well. So there's a lot of burn, but I really like it. I drank some last night too.
Oh, nice. I think I agree. It is very like clean, simple, smooth, easy to drink. Just, that's why I stick to it now for the most part. I was going to drink some tonight, but I actually decided not to because I didn't have anything to like mix with it. And I haven't been liking drinking it neat as much recently. I think probably because it's like getting warmer. And I don't know, it just doesn't feel like the drink that I want to drink. So instead, tonight I'm drinking red wine, which is also not a hot weather.
I know, I was waiting because I saw you take a sip earlier and I'm like, I'm waiting for this transition to hot weather drinks being wine, red wine.
Also not a hot weather thing, but it did get kind of stormy this afternoon. It was hot today. It was like in the 80s. It was nice. I'd go stand on my porch, just taking little breaks between work and like warming up my legs and stuff because I get so cold. I really thought that working from home would be a different situation because I'm fucking cold all the time. And I used to freeze my ass off in the office. So much so that I just had like a big cardigan in my desk and I would just wear it whenever I got cold. And I thought, working from home is going to be awesome because I'm going to be warm all the time. No, I'm still cold as fuck. Even though I turn the heat up to like 72 sometimes, I'm still freezing my ass off. Doesn't make any sense. I think I have circulation problems. I don't know what's happening.
72. Okay, we have our house at 74 and we're chilly.
Okay, so yeah.
But I mean, today it was like 98.
Okay.
But still, even when, I'm cold all the time too. But there's like this very perfect, this balance of, I turn it up to 75, it's a degree. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm hot. So then I turn it down to 74. It's just like this balance.
I agree. That seems to be my sweet spot too. If it's like 75 or 76, that gets a little too hot. Yeah. But if it's like 74, 73, I seem to be okay. I will still be a little bit chilly though. It's not like I can just like hang out in shorts and still be like warm. Anyway.
And we can't continue on with our episode without hollering out to Homies of Horror. We were on their show and it was so much great fun.
Yeah, we don't know when it's going to be on or when it's going to be live, but we were over there with them talking about the Evil Dead remake.
Yes.
So you'll have to go to their podcast and check that out and check them out. They're fucking great. I love them. I love listening to their episodes. They're so funny. And
they're so fun.
They also do they stream on Twitch every Monday night. I think it's like every time maybe they release their episodes on Monday. I'm sorry, I don't remember. And then they go on Twitch and they talk about the episode and play video games, like stream their video game playing. It's so fun. It's so much fun to watch them. And I was watching like a couple weeks ago and they were playing the new, or no, it's not the new one. Sorry, that comes out in a few days, maybe, I think. But they were playing a Resident Evil game. And I was like, I feel like I'm playing with them right now and like having so much fun. It was really fun. And I've never really watched people stream like this. And so I didn't really like get it, but it was a good time and they're so funny. So go check them out.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't even know what a Twitch was until you guys started talking about it. I mean, I knew what Twitches are, but that's really cool. I'll have to check it out too. Yeah, they're super fun. They are fun and kind, and we have some like wicked smart conversations. Like they bring some really great info to the table.
They really do. They're like really thoughtful.
Thoughtful, and yes.
They're always bringing stuff that I'm like, shit, I did not think about that.
Yep.
It's great.
Yeah, it is.
Have you watched anything recently of note?
That chapter.
Okay.
I'm all caught up.
So loyal to that chapter.
So loyal, and he doesn't know. Michael O doesn't know how loyal I am to that chapter. Formula One race last Sunday at 7 a.m. We all woke up and watched the race. And that was a great one. His name is just escaping me. Not that, you want to talk about this for a long time, and we won't. But the winner was Lewis Hamilton, and it was really cool. He is, I don't know if he's the first, he might be, but African-American race car driver. And he like came from, his family was not rich, because a lot of, I'm not going to say all, I don't know that much about where the
racing
come from, but a lot of time racing is really expensive. So the boy, and they're all guys, by the way, so let's have some women in there. But so their family, usually they come from a family that has a lot of money because they have to put a lot of money into it. Well, he didn't. And his dad used to like try to scrape together to get him to learn racing and, all of that. So it's a really cool story. And he was in the back and he just pushed forward and it was awesome. And he's also leading the entire championship. So they get points. And anyways, blah, blah, blah. So we watched racing. And honestly, I have not watched anything else. I was trying to think if I did listen to a podcast. And I didn't. No. Wow. The week went by fast. Yeah.
Very busy. Yeah, that's cool.
But thanks for asking. How about you?
The only thing that I have watched is I am almost caught up on Handmaid's Tale. So I've watched the first 3 episodes of the newest season.
I haven't seen the newest.
Yeah, they're on Hulu, the first 4 now. I haven't seen the most recent one, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. I might cut out this next part because I want to be very careful not to spoil it. So if there's a weird jump, just know that's what happened here. But I don't think this is like a very, I don't know. I don't think it's a spoilery thing to say because, yeah, I need this show to give me what I fucking want. And if it doesn't give me what I want, I'm going to quit watching it. If very specific things continue to happen, I'm out. I'm so over it. I feel like I've been over it for like 2 seasons and I keep talking shit about how much I'm fucking over it and they better save it this season or else I'm going to flip out.
Shit. Okay. I really want to know what you're talking about, but we can't spoil it. So maybe you and I talk later because I didn't start the new season because I was pretty furious. Things weren't happening and I was so stressed out about it. So I was actually nervous to start the new season. That's why I haven't yet.
Yeah. I am ready for the fucking revenge. I'm ready for this to turn into a revenge show. And the longer this doesn't happen, the more frustrating it gets. And I'm done. Like we've gone through so much pain and anguish and like awfulness that I really, really need a win. And if you're not going to deliver that to me and all I'm watching is pain and suffering, why the fuck am I mean, like I get that's not the only parameter. Obviously you can have a show that's like important and shows like the realities of, shitty things that people can do for each other. But it's like, there's a point when it becomes too much for this audience member, me, to deal with. And I feel like I'm there. And I've been there. And I just need you to fucking turn it around. That's all. That's my soapbox on Handmaid's Tale.
I feel the same way. You said it beautifully. That's exactly how I feel. Like I was ready for people to get their comeuppance. I was ready for the revenge. and how it turned out where I left it, I was like, oh, fuck, you kidding me? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to watch the next season.
I feel like what they're doing, and like, again, this is like not spoiling anything, but I feel like what they're doing is I think they maybe started with an idea that they were going to maybe do a few seasons, and then it got so popular that they said, we need to milk this for all it's worth. How can we stretch this out over the most lengthy period of time we possibly can? And so you've got this like back and forth. Arcs happen and then unhappen. Yeah. And then they happen again and unhappen. It's like, okay, this is so infuriating to watch as a viewer. It feels like there's no end in sight. They're just going to keep doing the same shit over and over again because they are making tons of money with this show or something. It's very frustrating. So I will reserve my judgment. I'll give this last season another shot. But if it fucks me over, I'm fucking out, Hulu. Okay?
Yeah. Good
Not
for
that
you.
They give a shit about
wait.
one viewer, me. They're like, bye, bitch.
Will. Oh no, they will. They will. I might wait for you to watch it. Yeah, because I get it. In a movie, like there's some movies, right? You watch the movie and it ends in this somber place, but it's fitting. There's something about the message, the experience, the journey, that if it didn't end that way, it wouldn't be right. This is not that. This is not that. This is, just like you said, so much pain and anguish, and there has to be some redemption. There has to be some revenge. This is not, if it ended without that, and like things were just how they were, what a fucking miserable experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially over this many seasons, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Come on.
You're just really stringing us along at this point.
Yeah, bastards.
Anyway.
I did see something, Tawny.
Oh, what?
Why did you kill me?
Oh, yeah,
remember?
you did watch that.
Mentioned it. Yes. You mentioned it, and I played it. I watched it on Sunday, and we had guests, and everyone was kind of doing their own thing, and so I turned it on because you had mentioned how much you liked it, and then people were like, "Oh my gosh, Felicia, you're watching true crime. You're so negative." Well, let's
got
just
their
say
asses.
Everybody was watching it. Everybody was watching it by the end, and I really liked it. I see what you're saying. It showed nobody was like the perfect person. You know what I mean? Well, I guess the victim, she's a pretty solid person, had some rough, but everybody else, and their stories and how it all played together, and then seeing it from just everyone's different point of view. I thought it was great. Yeah. And we had revenge at the end. You could cut that out if you want to, in case. But if not, yeah. You know what I mean? Like
it resolves itself. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's real. So that was cool.
I'm glad you liked it. Yes.
Yeah, I really liked it a lot.
It was good.
I thought it was excellent.
It was pretty crazy. It was funny. I was like editing our last episode, and I was like, it's not super crazy, but it is kind of crazy. It's just not like a level 10 crazy like the Jinx, or you know what I mean? It's not like one of those that flies way off the handle where you're like not expecting some certain shit to happen, but it is crazy. It was a good one. I'm glad you liked it. It
was a really good one. Yeah, we all liked it. We were all watching it at the end of the day.
Good. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
She's ready. I'm ready. Let's jump into it. So we are talking about Otis from 2018, which my mom has wanted us to watch forever. And my dad has also jumped on that train to get us to watch this. So the director is Tony Krantz. And I tried to see if he has directed anything else. And he's only directed 3 other movies in his career. Most of the time it looks like he's a producer. And most recently on like TV shows and stuff. Okay. That'll maybe be important later. The cast is, I only did like a handful of the cast. So Boston Christopher plays Otis Broth. Kevin Pollak plays Elmo Broth. Ashley Johnson plays Riley Lawson. Ileana Douglas plays Kate Lawson. Daniel Stern plays Will Lawson. And Jared Kuznets plays Reed Lawson. And also, I don't know how to say this. It's Jere, Jerry? Or Jer? Or Jarre. I don't know.
Jarre.
Burns. Played Agent Ralph Hotchkiss. So, the ratings are... IMDb gave this a 6 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gave this a 57%. And 81% of Google users liked this movie.
Wow.
Let's... Okay, I'm gathering how Felicia felt about this, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves. I'm going to give you 2 Minutes with Tawny, which also today was just copied and pasted from Wikipedia because it also was very short, and I just was like, you know.
Thank you, Wikipedia.
Why reinvent the wheel today? Yeah. That's how I felt. So, in the midst of a serial killer's rampage and kidnappings, beautiful young Riley Lawson goes missing. When her desperate parents, Will and Kate, are contacted by her kidnapper, insufferable FBI Agent Hotchkiss takes charge of the case. But from deep within the psychopathic subterranean world created by Otis Broth, Riley turns the tables on her tormentor, manages to escape, and to contact her parents. Fed up with the inability of the FBI to find their girl, Will, Kate, and Riley's brother Reed decide to take matters and revenge into their own hands.
I was waiting for you to say something more.
I was considering maybe I hold that until, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. That the plot summary doesn't give you any sense of the tone or context of this movie. That sounded very different than actually what it is to me. I don't know if you feel that way too, Felicia.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen this movie and you're like, just know that. Anyway, Felicia, how did you feel about this movie?
All right, so before we start, we're going to ruin the movie.
Oh, yes, thank you.
We're going to spoil it.
Too late.
Yeah, it's just too late.
Already spoiled.
We also spoiled a bunch of other shows we just talked about that you weren't planning on hearing about when you could join this episode. So I did not like this movie, and I was so nervous because I have, so much respect for the people who've created Tawny, who's one of my favorite people in the world. But I really...
That's secondhand respect. You haven't even met my family, and you have so much respect for them.
Yeah, I haven't even met them. I just found myself watching it and not having really, I didn't loathe it. I didn't hate it. I didn't have any kind of a response to it. I just kind of watched it. There was some things that we'll talk about later that I thought that I liked. And then there were a lot of things that I was like, what? And yeah, that's how I felt about it.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I do want to say that I texted my mom earlier today and I said, I'm pre-apologizing because I did not like this movie. I'm sorry. I said, I'm sorry, but this is a crazy fucking movie is what I said to my mom. And to be fair, actually, the last time I talked to my mom, I'm not actually even 100% sure that she loves this movie or anything, but the last time I talked to her about it, she was like, I'm just really curious about what you guys have to say about it.
Oh, okay. Okay, so maybe it's not like her favorite movie ever.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Hopefully, Mom, we're not hurting your feelings about not liking this. But even if you like it, that's also okay. But I didn't...
Because 80% of Google users like it.
Dude,
so,
I was like, what?
Obviously, we're in the minority here.
From the Google users, yeah. The rest of the things were, I think, pretty closer to the reality here. But anyway, this was insane. It's even hard to describe if you haven't seen it. It's crazy. It's all over the place. And it tried really hard to be a dark comedy. Mm-hmm. And for me, just missed the mark. This is one of those, overall, the comedy and the dark nature did not match for me. Like, it's like a level 9 dark and then a level 2 humor.
Yeah.
Like, some of the humor is just so juvenile that, like, I like a dark comedy, and I like when shit is so absurd and so bloody. You guys know this. I like Hostel and Hostel 2. I can be a fan of that over-the-top, like, dark stuff, but it has to match, I think, for me. Like, the levels have to come up at the same rate. And this was so mismatched. And
like,
so,
you could see where they were trying to be funny, where they were
yes.
trying to do the comedy. So it wasn't natural. It was, I could literally see, oh, they're trying to be this, or they're trying to be funny in this way. It seemed very, very forced.
Yes, totally. It was forced, and it felt very like student film level in some aspects.
Yeah.
But also I also didn't loathe it. Like, I didn't find myself like being like mad or like pissed. Like, I wasn't like hating it. Yeah. But I just didn't like it, and it wasn't it for me. So that's kind of where I landed too.
It's really hard because if you think about Tucker and Dale versus Evil, like, their comedy, it was perfect. It was just, but it was absurd. It was so absurd, but it was like perfectly absurd. Where I think, because I wasn't sure how to explain it, but I think you're explaining that well. The darkness and the comedy. I don't know, with like that one, Tucker and Dale versus Evil, it just fit. It was perfect. And then now I'm like, well, maybe I should have scored that higher. Just kidding. But with this one, there was just something there. I liked the idea. I had not seen an idea like that before. You know, like he obviously idolizes his brother and keeps trying to relive what he never had. And his brother did with the girl and the football and the prom night and, you know, having sex on the prom night, right? And so, and I thought, you know, I didn't think he did a bad job either. The kidnapper guy, Otis, it's the name of the movie. I didn't think he did a terrible job being gross and creepy. But so just something wasn't working. The mom, this is a great example. I see they were trying to make how non-reactive she was. It was a funny thing. She's not reacting like a typical mom would react, and that's funny, but it wasn't. Right. Actually, her performance bothered me the most out of everybody's because it was so stale, and there was no reaction at all. But in the beginning, when her daughter was kidnapped, there was just no reaction. And then finally she did. Finally, she was like kind of getting some emotions and cursed him out. And then was like on this rampage. But even when they were sawing up that guy, there was certain things like she was like, well, what about this? Well, why not this? And blah, blah, blah. And it just felt so forced.
Yeah, I think stale is a really good word.
Stale.
It was very stale. And I don't think that we saw that lady in Stir of Echoes, and I don't remember her being like a phenomenal actress in that either. Like I don't, but I also don't remember her being like, I don't remember it being
unbelievable
so bad.
Or weird. Yeah.
You know, and this was rough. This was a rough outing for all of these people, and a couple of them I recognized. I think the mom and dad more than anybody else.
And that brother.
The brother.
Otis's brother. Yeah.
Yeah, Elmo. And I agree. I think Otis, the guy who played Otis, is like one of the best actors in the entire movie. He did a like pretty damn good job. I also read that this was his first like acting job. And
really? Wow.
They originally weren't going to have him come in because he was so fresh, but they said every time they had him come back and keep reading, he got like better and better and better. And so they were like, let's bring him on. So I think he did a really good job. But yeah, it is very like, I spent a lot of time today researching and trying to figure out like what happened, what went wrong here, what was the problem.
Yeah.
And I think there are several problems, but maybe before we get into all the stuff that we didn't like, let's talk about the things we did. Because I think we both have things that we like, and then we'll move into the shitting all over this movie portion.
Okay. Okay, yes.
Back end.
Well, we both liked him. I thought he did a great job. I thought he was creepy. I liked his range of emotions too. Like you can see him getting, agitated or calming down. I thought he did a really good job. And just, I won't go into everything I liked, but just a part of that was, I thought she did a good job, the teenager. When she was she was kind of like, okay, she's a teenager character, but I liked their dynamic to where she immediately was like, okay, I'm going to go along with this.
Yeah.
And sometimes she didn't, but I liked that. I liked their dynamic. And I really liked her idea of giving him a hand job.
Yeah.
So then he couldn't rape her. Like, I thought that was a real smart little thing in there. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I wrote that down too, that I like how she plays along. And because we talk about this all the time, just play along until you can get into a better situation than you're in. And she did do that in this movie. And so I was very happy about that because there are a couple times that she doesn't. Or like in the beginning, it takes her a minute to sort of get on board. But yeah, like smart choices from her for a handful of the times. Yeah. And I agree, you mentioned this already, but I wrote this under my pros, is that I do feel like it was a good idea at its base.
Yeah.
Like the idea of a family seeking revenge on their own is an idea. I like that. There's something to that, and I even think you can take that and make a dark comedy out of it and have it be successful. It's just that like the tone, it didn't mesh well in the end. And I will say that some of the writing was funny. Yeah. I did like some of the jokes. It was only a handful maybe, but some of them were funny. And something that I noticed after the fact, because I was doing the research for this and I was reading through the IMDb section and there was hardly any trivia. And then I was reading through some of the like lines that people put in, the quotes. And when I was reading the lines, they were funnier to me than when I was hearing it in the movie. So an example of this is they're talking to this FBI agent, right? And that all of these girls have gone missing. And so you know that there's a history of people going missing. And the guy says to the family, we have an 80%, what does he say? We have an 80% recovery rate. And one of the other cops goes, well, we only found 60% of Debbie, whatever, And I thought that was, when I was reading it, I was like, okay, that's funny. It's funny when you read it, when it's written. But having it be spoken in dialogue in the movie, it fell so flat.
Yeah, it did.
And so I think that I definitely think some of the problem is the writing, for sure. Because some of the other lines are not as good. But they had some little gems. They had some little gems in there. And also one of the other moments that I thought was funny was when the news anchor says, there's these crying people on the TV and they're talking about wanting to find their daughter. And she says, what's left of her anyway? And then they're like still mic'd. They're like, what did you say? I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was cute. She was funny how dark and depressing she was. Like she was not helping at all these families that had were missing their kids. And she's probably raped and cut up and God knows what's happening to her right now. Yeah, these families are like, what? I really liked, so I didn't like the dad for the majority. And then I did start liking him during, like when he didn't want to do the torture and he was like, really like, I don't want to do this. And then I'm trying to think specifically, I am remembering a scene where it's after they kill the brother and they're all in the hospital. And there's the mom and the brother who are like hardcore killers. And then the dad who's just like so unsure about this. And so his daughter's questioning him and he like wants to tell her and he's kind of just like looking at the people the side of them. And as they're shaking their head, he follows them and he's shaking his head. And like that made me giggle. I thought he did good. And I liked, it was just a moment, it caught me off guard, where they're all standing there. and they realize it's not Otis. And the freaking son is balls out Lord of the Flies in the back. Like he had blood. And I always laugh with Lord of the Fly references because it just makes me giggle. And the dad says something about, he's like, because he's like, what did you guys do? The kid does. And they're like, what did we do, Mr. Lord of the Flies? And that moment, I went, I liked it.
Right. Yes. You know what else I thought was very funny? And I also, so the two things that were funny and good, I thought, were some like beginning of the movie callbacks that I just did not see coming. Again, in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of a mess. But just in a little tiny vacuum, I liked how in the beginning of the movie, there's a weird, semi-weird conversation with the parents about this girl wearing an underwire bra. Because she's not wearing a bra.
Oh, because she's
and they're
not
like,
wearing a bra,
go put on a bra. And she's like, I don't like the underwire. It hurts. Like, Dad, have you ever, she goes like, Dad, you wouldn't last 30 minutes with an underwire bra. It's so uncomfortable. And I thought that was funny. And then what happens in the end of the movie is she actually takes the underwire out of the bra to short circuit an electrified grate to escape. And I liked the callback because I just did not see it coming. I thought it was a throwaway, weird line about, oh, okay, thanks for reminding us that we're talking to a teenage girl with boobs. You know, like, I don't know. I didn't think that that's what was going to happen. And then so that part wasn't funny, but I liked it. But the second one that was funny to me is early in the movie, they mention something about this delinquent brother making shuriken stars in shop class or something. And at the end of the movie, they have this scene where they're confronted by the FBI agent and he pulls out a shuriken star ready to throw it at him. And that killed me. I thought that was, I mean, that's too strong of a word. It didn't kill me. I did not laugh hard, but I thought it was a clever, just to clarify.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a clever callback and I thought it was funny because that was one of those moments that was so absurd that I just was like, okay, that I liked that. So
yeah, those are really good moments. I like that too. I totally am on the same page when they had the whole, not wearing a bra conversation. I thought they were just hinting to maybe she's a little promiscuous or, something like that. I don't know. I didn't think anything, but as soon as she was pulling the underwire out, I went, oh, the bra. Because I didn't even remember her going and putting it on. They totally thought it was a throwaway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I liked that too. That was cool.
Something else that I forgot to write down, but what I did like is the opening scene of this movie is he's got a girl captured. And I think, in my opinion, she seems like one of the smartest people in this movie because he's watching her through these security cameras in this like dungeon that he has. And she starts like covering up the cameras with lotion that she has in the room, and she's pretending like she's gonna hang herself because she's not playing along with him. She's like, I'm not doing this. And she acts like she's gonna hang herself, so she puts this chain around her neck and acts like she's gonna do it. And so he freaks out and covers all the cameras. So he freaks out and comes down to the room. In the meantime, she undoes the thing around her neck, goes and picks up this like gigantic metal thing that she's chained to, and starts just whipping it around her head like a lasso, and she just waits for him to open the door, and as soon as he opens the door, she fucking smacks him like right in the head with that gigantic metal piece. And I thought that was brilliant. I liked that a lot. That was good. And then she dies by accident because she falls backwards into a tub full of water, and a like radio or something falls in the water with her and electrocutes her, and so she dies, which Otis doesn't want. He wants her to stay alive so that they can like go to this fake prom together. And I thought that could have been funny. That had the potential to be funny because it was so absurd and random and you don't expect that to happen, but it just wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that scene, I love that too. How she was pretending to hang herself. And then just this swinging, I mean, like, damn it, she's swinging that thing forever. She just kind of barely hits him, though. She hits him, but then he doesn't really respond. Then she picks up and swings it again. I guess it's really heavy. But, like, you're going to just keep doing this? Like, but I liked it. Well, I liked it. I guess I just was like, okay, this was a brilliant plan. What else could we have done besides swinging it like this?
Right.
Because
execution wasn't great.
Yeah. Or he opens the door and like right in the side of the head. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I totally get it. Like, I thought, oh man, she could totally have gotten out. This is a really good plan.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I thought the one moment that this is disturbing, but I liked, it was really dark and felt visceral, I guess, is when she falls and dies in the tub and he lifts up her leg and starts sawing.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know I've seen body parts being sawed before, but this was so, I mean, I haven't in real life, guys, in movies.
Yeah.
This was so like, here she is, he lifts her leg and he starts going in, and I was like, oh, okay. That was good.
Yeah.
I like to feel that way.
Yes, I'm with you. There were a couple other moments like that too for me. One of which was when his brother smacks him. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I was like, God, I was like, ow, it hurt me. What a weird, I know it's such a tiny little thing, but normally you cut away or you cut on the slap or something so that it hides the fact that you didn't actually make contact. There's none of that. It seems like he actually smacked him really hard.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
And it made such a real sound that I thought that was good. I
cringed too. Oh, how about when Otis punches her?
Oh, I think that yeah, because I was thinking there was another one. I just couldn't remember what it was. Yeah.
That one, when she's like, please no, and he just crunch. Like, oh my gosh, that was like, yeah.
Yes.
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good hits.
Moments are very visceral and shocking. And then like other ones are very comedic and weird. That's why I think, to your point, it's weird that gigantic metal thing doesn't make contact. Like they probably did that for safety, right? Like it's probably foam or whatever, and it just like didn't make contact the way that you want it to. But I also felt like, damn, I wish that had a little bit more impact or something.
Yeah, even obviously she couldn't have survived if we wouldn't have a movie, like my husband says. We wouldn't have had a movie. But like he wasn't even bleeding or anything. Like, I don't think there was anything wrong with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be the end of the things that I liked, I think.
Yeah, I think I put Dad in the hospital was funny. I did like that she got away. God, that felt so good. She got away. She snuck away because as she was running or like sneaking around the house, I thought, oh my God, he's going to find her. I even thought, oh, the brother's going to see her and we're going to find out that the brother actually supports him in this, or doesn't know about it, but also doesn't want like his brother and all to be exposed and be this horrible person, so is going to help get rid of her. So I was kind of like, oh my God, please get away. And then she got away. And then there's those two guys at the freaking little mart just chilling, and she's like bruised and chained to this thing, and like no one's even...
That part made absolutely zero sense. I was like, what the fuck? Okay.
Yeah, so I like that she got away. And I get how the mom was saying, don't give him the address, because she wanted to go after them herself. She didn't want them to, him to get off on a technicality or not get a lot of time in jail or whatever the case may be. So they wanted to go after him themselves. I did like how the dad was like not really into it.
Yeah.
He was nervous and he wasn't into it. I thought that was funny. That's good.
That's nice. You're really, you got a long list.
Yeah, I got a long list of things that I like.
Can I start talking shit?
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, again, I don't think that it's all bad. I think there are a couple moments that are funny, that are good. You could see where they were going, and I think they had an idea, and they just weren't able to fucking make it happen. And I have many theories on why that is, but I just want to start with the number one thing that is fucking me up about this movie, and I already mentioned it a little bit, but it's just the tone. The tone is way the fuck everywhere. It's like trying so hard to be funny and also so fucking dark and awful. I think you can make jokes about a lot of dark stuff, but I just think rape is where I draw the line. For me, I just was like, and even though in the movie she's not raped, But there's like this whole running gag about everybody believing that she was raped for a long time. And like, I just thought to myself, let me preface this by saying, I don't think that you can, I don't necessarily generally think that you can be one sex and not write about the other or anything like that. But I do think that there wasn't a fucking single female in sight in the pre-production of this movie. Not a single woman, and maybe I'm wrong, but seems to have been around this. Because I just feel like the content, this is what fucks me up about the tone. The content is so far off into the area of dark when it comes to kidnapping women and raping them, that all of the comedy, even if it was really good, maybe it could work, but I just don't, we were so far fucking away from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the continuous jokes about being raped, you know, the FBI agent is like sitting over her at the hospital and he's like, you don't remember the address? That place where you just were, where you were repeatedly raped? You don't remember the address? Like, I get what they were going for that, but like, it just wasn't, it was not funny. It wasn't.
Yeah, this whole thing about he wanted her to have been raped because that would have been like the worst thing next to being killed, right? And so he wanted it so that he could go on TV and go on, oh, this horrible thing happened and I helped solve the crime. And then the family was like, oh, don't tell mom and dad you weren't raped or what. They won't be as mad that she was kidnapped and beaten and tortured. You know, that was kind of the thing, was like, they won't be as mad.
Well, I think it was like it'll add insult to injury that they already killed this person that they thought, you know what I mean?
Raped you, but yeah. I know. I totally know what you mean, but it didn't.
It's still not. Yeah, it still doesn't fit. It's like, yeah, what are we trying to do here?
Yeah,
it's too far. It's too dark for it to be funny. So all of the moments that were like revolved around that were like too gross for me. And this is a pretty, like, vulgar movie at times. Some of the shit that Otis said, I'm like, whoa. I mean, like, I feel like I can even deal with some pretty... I mean, you know, if you've listened to our podcast, I can handle some really vulgar, crazy...
Antichrist.
Yes. And sometimes I really like it, and it's great. when it means something. You know, like, when it's in service of, like, a larger message or something, but this just was, like, so... It just fell so flat. It felt like some of the jokes were written by like a 12-year-old boy who got his hands on a script. I don't know. It was weird. And then other moments were like pretty okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there in the script process that just, it was so fucking all over the place.
I think that's a really good, and you brought an example to my mind that I think for me felt like super disjointed. So she's kidnapped already. The parents are inside the house and they're, you know, waiting for him to call because he has called previously. There's people out with the vigil and everything, and he's literally parked in front of their house and he calls and he's like, yeah, Kim, and we're steady now. And you know, there's like the agent, the detective is like, whatever he's saying, which is absurd. You know, he's just over the top absurd. Yeah. And then he's like, yeah, we're going steady now. Only I get to stick my fingers in her. Something like that is so, even like right now, it's just so fucking disturbing. But it was supposed to be funny, or was it supposed to be dark? Like, I didn't know. I don't know if I'm explaining it well, but that was a moment that was really in my mind of, and then the mom says something, and I think that's actually when she's like, you sick pervert, blah, 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 but she's not fully mad. She's kind of just saying the word strongly, but not like fully mad. And then there's like this, the dad's like, oh, and the son's like, yeah, mom. But we just totally glossed over this really fucking dark, horrific thing that this man just said. And it was just so disjointed.
I 100% agree. I also had that same experience watching it. And also exactly what you're saying. Like every step of the way, it doesn't make sense. Like, why would you even fucking say that as a person who is kidnapped? Like, okay, whatever. But moving past that, then the reaction is not strong enough. I was really grossed out by that.
Yeah.
Your own mother would be so fucking gross. You know what I mean? Like it would be enough for you to do something crazy. And you're right. It's just like run of the mill. I'm just on the phone, whatever. So fucking crazy. And that happens time after time after time. I feel like in this movie, like I can't even make you a list. You'd have to watch it just to see this. I think that happens actually twice where he calls the parents and says some lewd shit to them.
Yeah.
And it's just too much. It's like, again, I get that you're trying to be funny, but it's not actually that funny. And I honestly don't even think, given the time difference, because this movie was made in 2008, so it's like a decade plus ago, I don't even think it would have been funny then. I get that it was like a different time and everybody spoke differently, but I don't remember shit like this. You know what I mean? Like, this is way over the top.
Yeah. So I totally agree with what you're saying. And I don't know what it was. I really didn't like this scene. Like, this was a scene where I was like starting to feel like what the fuck am I watching? But then it kind of, it tapered off. So I'm glad. Was when they were all hiding in the house. I was over it. I was over the conversation.
I know where you're going.
Where the dad is like, but I didn't want to. But we are in the wild. We are in the wild. We're beast. Dad, we're beast. What are you talking about? We're in the wild now. They're talking. I was just like, oh my God, this needs to be fucking done. Then he comes in. What is this dance routine of asinine?
Yeah.
I said, this is asinine is what I wrote here. Like, oh, I hit him, and then I'm dancing over here with him, and he's on my back over here, and this is happening over here. That was the moment I was like, what were they trying to do here? This was supposed to be funny, I'm guessing. This was supposed to be like Home Alone funny. You know, when the guys are getting, you know, when the burglars break into the Home Alone house and, you know, they're getting all beat up and it's funny. This is what's trying to be happening here, maybe. And I was like, I'm done. I really don't want this anymore. And then, thank God it ended.
This was some Benny Hill shit right here, right? What the fuck? It was like, that's not the song that was happening, but it could have been happening. And actually, it would have made it better probably, because that is the vibe that they're going for. It's so cartoonish and crazy. It's set up like a play. So they're going from, you know, stage right to stage left where you don't see, and crazy shit is happening. And now they're like, I feel like that shit has been done to death. Like, if you've survived till the age of 12, you've watched exactly 87 cartoons that do this. Yeah. Right?
Yep.
This is one of those moments that felt so juvenile in its humor that I agree, totally. The tone was fucking crazy. And can I just add to this? Because I feel like this is one of the scenes. The fucking music and the score of this it's so bad. It's like one of the worst examples of I've ever seen in my life. It's like the cheap stock, like, score DVDs that you could have bought, and they just threw fucking random tracks on these moments. Yes. Now, I will say, as a pro, though, the copyrighted music that they, like, licensed for this were good songs. I liked that, and I thought those songs gave a nice vibe in the scenes that they were in, and you really got when Otis grew up, and that's what he was trying to, like, recreate. And I thought that was really well done. Yeah. So I'm not saying anything about those songs. Like, they had Blue Oyster Cult in there and a couple other songs that I don't remember, or bands. But the other shit was like a bad porno music.
Yes.
Track. Yes. It was so off the wall, and it really did not help. I mean, it really made the tone thing way fucking worse. It brought the tone problem to a level 12. Like,
it's like that whole thing stuck out like a sore thumb, because there we are now. So I'm supposed to be laughing. I get it. I get the jokes. They're not landing right, but I understand that this is supposed to be funny. And I understand this is supposed to be dark. Now, what is this supposed to be? What am I feeling now? Like, what is this? What is fucking this?
Yes. And I did like that
it's like
scene.
A clown show from in the circus, the Barnaby. Yeah. That little clown.
Yes. I did like the scene before this where they are standing. It did go on too long. And it again, you can tell like where they wanted to go. And there were just some tweaks that I feel like could have gotten it to where they wanted it to be. But I thought that was pretty funny. That they're all standing in this house having this conversation, waiting for this guy to come home to like beat the shit out of him. That, as an idea, was funny.
Yes.
But the execution was so fucked up. It just like didn't work at all. And then we run into Barnaby, you know what I mean?
Barnaby Bailey's, whatever that circus is called. Yes, because I liked that the dad was kind of against it, but he was going along with it at the same time. And then, the last thing I remember is her saying that we're in the wild. And I'm just like, okay, I wasn't even listening anymore.
Yeah. Another thing that I didn't love, and this I kind of started to notice actually when I was putting together the research and I was pulling all the cast, I was like, why are there so many fucking people in this movie? Like, we could have lost half the cast and it would have tightened up the movie and made it much better. And also you would have lost a lot of like cringy shit. I really hated the brother character. They needed to just toss him the fuck out of there. It didn't make any sense. And there's all this crazy shit that he's doing. Like he's filming his sister naked to sell online as porn and making and selling drugs and making stars and playing video games all day. Like I felt like it was like, okay, you just went and took a survey from some 60 to 80-year-old people on what they think the worst version of a teenager could be, and you just mashed all that shit together into this character, and somehow also we're supposed to like him, and there's all these other scenes where he's supposed to have good relationship kind of with his sister. I was like, what in the fuck is happening? This makes absolutely zero sense. He serves no purpose. Get him the fuck out of there.
I love that you said that. That's another great example of confusing how we're supposed to be feeling. I rewound that part a couple of times where he got home because I was like, wait, are they saying that he's selling pictures of his sister on porn sites? That can't be what they're saying. Because I know he's filming her, right?
If he's not, it's even worse.
Yeah. But then
but did he say something about
No, like he was filming her in the beginning and there's kind of like, you know, there's this thing in movies where, the boy has the hot older sister and I don't even know what I'm thinking of, but there was a movie where like the kid gave him 10 cents to be able to look at his sister through this screen while she's getting dressed or something like that. Like in those coming of age type movies. But then they made it seem like he was doing something really disgusting, like pornography. I'm like, that can't be it though, because like what a sicko. But he has a good relationship with his sister, but he's putting her on porno sites like this. So then I rewound it and played that scene over again when he got home. And I'm like, wait, and his reaction to it was so innocent. I was like, oh shit, I think that is what they're saying. But see, this is a perfect example of, I'm not clear, like, because this isn't funny. It's gross. It's dark. Or is this supposed to be funny? Because he's acting like it's funny.
Right.
Totally. The parents aren't really that upset about it.
Even the stuff in the beginning.
Would be fucking livid.
Yes. Even the stuff in the... Well, I mean, holy shit. Is she even 18? Like, is this a criminal offense? Like, what the fuck? This is a criminal
offense. Yeah, she's not 18, right? She's still in high school. She was going to high school.
I think
she could be 18, I guess, if she's going to high school. But
yeah, like, it's overall so fucking disturbing and not funny. And it's like, okay, this feels like some shit that an alien came down to Earth and watched a handful of movies and created an idea of like what should happen in a teenage coming of age movie and is just so far removed from human culture that they just didn't fucking get it. That's how I felt about the first scene where he's filming his sister getting undressed and he's there with a friend, but it really is the weirdest. I mean, just right off the bat, that's how we start with this character. And I was like,
Yeah.
what? Why? It just makes zero sense. That's it. That's all.
Yeah, I totally agree. And but she's fine. She hits him. It's like, stop it, pervert. But then they're like joking around later. Like,
so weird. Get him out of there.
So weird. Yeah, you're right. Just for that one Lord of the Rings thing, it's the Lord of the Flies thing is the only like part that I really I mean, I didn't really like, but compared to everything else,
comparatively,
I like that piece.
Yes.
I'm glad they didn't kill that police officer though, because when they started to pull the knife and the star out, and I was like, they're gonna kill him here now, because I guess that whole thing. What I liked. So if you haven't seen it, go watch Tucker and Dale versus Evil. What I liked about that is they were accidentally killing people and mortified that they were killing people. It's not like, oh, I'm a normal person and now I'm this cold-blooded killer and I'm going to kill anyone that's in my way. So when she pulled out her knife, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I swear. If they jump up and slaughter this police officer right here.
Yeah.
But I did like how they were doing that, and the dad was like fucking sweating. He was like, what are they doing? Stop it.
I do feel like this scene right here got the closest to the tone that they were aiming for.
Yeah.
I felt like, okay, this is like more where they want to be. Because I thought it was pretty funny that they're sitting there and there's this back and forth. It happened for way too fucking long. Don't get me wrong. But finally, we get to a point where the FBI agent is like, oh, we had the cameras. And they're pulling out their shuriken stars and their knives ready to kill this guy. And the dad is sweating like, oh, God, because he's already regretting all of this.
Stop.
And he was like, yeah, we had the cameras, but they weren't pointed in the right direction. And everybody, whew, sigh of relief. And then he says, but we did have the audio. And everybody's, and so it kind of gave you a break for a second, but then you knew that they were caught. And then he's like, oh, I'm not going to turn you in. That guy got what he had coming to him. And I thought that was a good...
I like that.
Yeah. I thought this scene, again, just got the closest to where they were wanting to go tone-wise, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I liked that too, because that is that kind of revenge justice that you wish happened in real life with real sickos. Right? Because real sickos get away with shit. And this one, the very chief detective dude, he was like, nah, he got what he deserved. I'm not going to tell anybody.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not going to.
Oh, yeah, that's badass. I like that.
Okay, so one thing that I want to say, because in the process of doing some research, I read, like I said, there wasn't much. And so I read a lot of reviews. And a lot of people were comparing this to Juno. And I think it's because it came out at the same time that Juno did.
Juno?
Yeah, Juno. The one with, like, Ellen Page.
Yeah, Elliot Page.
Thank you. And Michael Cera. Yeah, okay, but hold on.
Okay.
And it's because this movie, like, cut through the noise, I guess, at the time that it came out. Because I think it came out around the times of, like, maybe one of the Hostels and Saw. And so there was, like, a lot of, like, this quote-unquote torture porn happening. And like Juno came out and felt so fresh and different and like it was cutting through the noise, I think that's how some people felt about this movie. So I want to just recognize and make space for the fact that if you watched this movie at that time and you felt that because it is different. It does have a different take. Yeah. And I could see how you would watch it when it came out and you'd walk away thinking that was a good movie because it felt so like a fresh take on what we're seeing over and over and over again.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I did not know how you were going to bring Juno into this and make it make sense.
We were going to come all the way around. But I just wanted to note that because I think it's important because I was reading all these reviews from when it came out and it's like so many people were like, I liked this movie. Even Jade had seen this movie when it came out, which is crazy. I'd never seen this, but he had seen it.
I never even heard of it before you mentioned it.
I know, and it didn't have like a theatrical release, so it makes sense that it's a little bit lesser known. It went straight to DVD, and Jade said he remembers thinking, this was a good movie. And he ended up watching the last, I think, half of it with me, or the last third or something, and he was like, wow, this is rough, right? So I think his two experiences were very different, and I think if you had watched this when it came out and you watched it now, you'd be like, what the fuck? Just because, you know, I think in that moment it felt so different, and now you watch it and you're like, wow, it's dated, the tone is all over the place, the music is crazy, the acting is crazy. And honestly, I think one of the biggest things, the biggest detriment to this movie seems to me like it was in the directing. Because, again, as I'm reading some of those lines, they're funny, and those actors should be good actors, I think.
Yep.
And so it's like, what happened between that and here? Sorry. Could have been the editing, maybe, but I doubt it. I mean, I think the editing...
Don't blame it all on the editor.
Yeah, no.
You fucked this movie up, editor.
I mean, listen, I'm telling you, I went on a search. I looked at all of the people involved, the director, the writers, and the editor, and the cinematographer. But actually, I think the cinematography is like one of the best parts of this movie, actually. Like, it looks pretty fucking good.
Yeah, it does. That room is scary and ominous when they're showing you that room that the girls are in, and
yeah. So that was good. The shots were good. I think where it crumbled was the directing, and I'll tell you why I think that is. So again, like I said, this guy has only directed 3 other movies aside from this one. And I had found an interview where he was talking to somebody about doing this movie, and supposedly him and his like writing partners and producing partners or whatever made 3 movies, I think, for Raw Feed, which is, I think, one of the other companies that they probably formed to make this movie. And so one of those movies was the one that he directed before this. So this is his second outing as a director. And I'm going to read this part of his interview. So he said, "We were looking long and hard for a director I could hire, and with the particular brand of humor and tone of satire, we were finding it difficult to land a director who sort of saw the same vision as we had. So 6 weeks before we were going to begin production, I said, we can't find a director. I guess I'll just direct it. The rest is history." That is a direct quote. And I felt like, man, that explains a lot, doesn't it?
Yes. Oh, shit. Okay, so it's his fault.
And I feel bad because this guy like wanted to direct. I think he was in the business for a long time doing some other stuff. I think he had been a producer for a while, and he was like, I'd like to start directing, but I don't really know where to start and how to get my feet wet. And so I think the first movie that they'd done for this Raw Feed was his, first time. And then he was like looking for a director for this one, and then just it got too tight and he was like, fuck it, I'll direct it. But I just think like even though he felt like he saw the vision, that it still couldn't come through.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Even though you had the vision, this is going to be random, but I'm just going to throw it out there. It's like having an employee that has a lot of knowledge and then saying, oh, they can manage people.
Yeah.
That doesn't translate. Just because you know a lot, almost everything about something, doesn't mean that you would be a good manager of managing people. I'm trying to make a correlation. That's the first thing that came to my head of just because you see the vision and maybe you wrote it or whatever the case doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a good director, that you're going to have the eye for to be able to bring that vision to the screen, right?
Right.
It doesn't necessarily mean it just because you have the vision.
Totally. And there's so much that goes into, we've had this conversation maybe before, but we've had this conversation at my work before where it's like something like a still image or design, a tone can be easily, I shouldn't say easily because it's probably not quite that easy, but you can get a tone pretty streamlined, in a streamlined fashion. But with video, you have so many parts and pieces that can make something off tonally. Mm-hmm. You've got the script writing, you've got the actual acting, you've got the directing of those actors, right? And then you've got the cinematography, the placement of the camera, the lighting, and then you've got sound, music on top of all of that. And then you have editing. There's so many steps in the process that can fuck up the tone that you're going for. And that's why video can be so fucking difficult to go from your original concept to the very end final product. And even, I'm not even taking into consideration other stakeholders, parties, the studio execs who tell you what the fuck to do. You know what I mean? Like, there's an endless list of why shit doesn't end up being the way that you want it to. And I feel like this is a good example of one of those movies. They obviously had a vision to start with, and it just fucking crumbled by the end.
I almost feel like this should be used as an example in film classes and film schools.
Yeah, I think it could.
Of exactly what you're talking about how all the things at any point, if it's off, it doesn't work.
Yes. And here you have it in Otis.
That's a really, really good explanation. I had a bit of an aha moment. Do you remember how I said that some of the thing, like especially the circus, the circus scene was kind of like Mickey Mousey, and it reminded me of Home Alone?
Yes.
The fucking dad is the burglar from Home Alone.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Were they trying to do that? Were they trying to bring in that humor that he had, which he was great in Home Alone? I mean, it was Home Alone, right? It was absolutely absurd. Like, I don't know. It's just crazy that it reminded me of them trying to make like a dark humor Home Alone. Is what it felt like. Dark humor. Yeah. Like a dark Home Alone. And then I'm like, holy shit, that's the burglar from Home Alone.
Yes. I don't know if they were going for that very specific brand of humor. And I don't know that I've seen Home Alone. So I'm sorry. That's why I'm making that face at you.
Oh, okay.
But I do know that they specifically cast people who had been in comedic roles before because they really wanted to hit home the comedic tone of this movie.
See?
So yes.
So then yes, because that's like his thing, and that movie was hugely successful. I'm sure he's been in other movies, but can I think of any? No. I think Home Alone, he's the burglar from Home Alone. Joe Pesci now has been in enough things, Casino, and like so many gangster movies, and that I don't necessarily equate him with Home Alone, but I definitely do this guy. And so some of that humor, maybe they were like, oh yeah, he's really good at this. Let's throw this in there.
Yeah.
This absurdity of Home Alone in this scene.
Maybe.
I think I'm right. Dude,
yeah.
I think I'm right.
No, I think I'm with you too. Maybe, yeah. And again, I can't speak to Home Alone because I haven't seen it probably, but they at the very least thought, this is a comedic actor. This is a comedic movie. Let's just put him in there and people will get it. And it's like, no.
No.
That's not. No. Let me tell you about one more thing that I have for trivia. Not that we have to stop talking about things about this movie, but this is just my last thing. They apparently have an alternate ending that they shot that was the original ending to this movie.
Ooh.
And I cannot for the life of me find it. Apparently it was on the DVD. I tried to find it on YouTube, and I also tried to find just somebody describing what it is, and I cannot. So if you've seen it, I would love to know. Please tell me what the second ending is. But apparently it was like crazy, and they decided to scrap it because I think of a couple reasons. Number one, I think the studio said it's too dark, which in the context of the movie, I'm like, okay, fucking weird time.
Make a million jokes about raping, right? But killing this guy is just too dark.
Well, it wasn't that. It's like, whatever. I don't know what happens.
Oh, God. It's even darker than that.
Apparently, but I don't know what it is. So it's like, but now you're going to decide to do that? Yeah, this has been a very dark movie up until now, so I have no idea what it's about. Apparently it has something to do with the birthday party. It's called like the birthday party ending or something. But this is another thing that I just pulled.
Whose birthday was it? I don't remember.
No fucking clue. No, I don't know anything. It says the alternate ending that we ended up shooting, this is, I think, again from this interview, which has Otis returning to the family and holding them hostage, Oh.
Oh, that's not the ending that I saw.
Yeah, no. Okay, so that must be like generally what happened, but I still don't know how that fucking relates to a birthday party. Anyway, okay, so I'll keep reading this.
Yeah.
Which has Otis returning to the family and holding them hostage, would have actually required, had we put it into the actual movie, a number of connective scenes of Otis actually coming back to the house, of Riley waking up in the middle of the night, Otis dispatching several other people around the house, police, FBI, the television journalists, etc., etc. From a pure production and budgetary point of view, we were happy with the direction that we went because it was a simpler piece of photography, and with the budget we had and the number of shooting days we had, we would have been very, very stretched to put the original ending in the main body of the movie by virtue of the need for this connective tissue. So that's why I'm confused about it, right? Because you have that little line that says he shows back up and takes the family hostage, but I have no idea what the fuck everybody else has to do with that. You know, like the police, the FBI, the journalists, like why? I don't understand how they're all there and what it has to do with the birthday party. Like it sounds...
Yeah, why do they all have to be there? Why does it require...
I don't know. Apparently,
all of that?
Apparently it was shot though. The scene was shot and it's on the DVD. It didn't have the setup shots or scenes of all of these people coming to the same location, it sounds like. So it exists out there, and there's something to do with him taking them hostage, and something to do with the birthday party, and something to do with all these fucking people, but I don't know what it is, and I can't find any more descriptive information than that. So
somebody has it, share it with us.
And the interesting thing is, some people say it's way fucking worse, and some people say it's way fucking better. So who knows?
Go to our Discord. Join.
And share it.
Yes.
Here's what I want you to do. Here's my call. If you own this shit on DVD and you have the alternate ending, take a video of the ending and show it to us on our Discord.
Yes, please. Go to our Discord. Show it to us. We're really excited. It's not like copyright stuff. We're not going to sell it. We just want to see it. We want to see it so bad.
I do want to know.
I think this ending...
The movie ending?
was another one of those moments for me where I was like, what? Like, I don't mind an ending that leaves it up in the air. I don't mind that. I've seen movies where they do that and it makes you think. But I feel like this was another element that they weren't doing earlier. Like everything was pretty transparent. We knew who was where, we knew the situations, everything was transparent, and all of a sudden, like, boom, hey, did he kill him or not? Like, are you just like fucking around with me? Like, because there's all, including the circus scene and everything, and now we have this murder mystery, or not a murder mystery, but now I don't know. Oh, did he kill him or not? Why leave me like that? Like, what is the point of this? What's this new element now that you're adding to this movie, where I literally just looked at it and just went, okay, well, first of all, the whole plan of just shooting through the door was stupid as fuck.
Dumb.
Because the maybe he would show up. More than likely not. Because he didn't seem incredibly stupid. Yeah. You know, he was clever, like even when he would call and whatever, those wild devices he had all over him to scramble shit. But whatever, that's what they were doing. So he would assume they just killed his brother, that he's not just going to show up with a pizza. I would assume that he's not just going to go to work and show up with a pizza. And so shooting through the door, that was just stupid. It was asinine. Yeah. And then you see him and they're like, all right, maybe they did get him. This was a big guy, big, tall guy.
Yeah, you don't know.
So maybe you did, but why? Why do I need to, why?
Yeah.
Because maybe he's still out there. Why? Because you're going to do a sequel? Or what?
I saw a lot of people, not a lot, maybe two. maybe two or three, but I did see some reviews that were like, the ending leaves it open for a sequel, which I'm excited to see. Shut up. I'm serious, dude, people. This must be one of those like really split, like you either fucking love it or you fucking hate it movies. And again, respect. If you like it, no problem with that. You just have a different sense of humor than us.
And obviously, we want to enjoy the movies we watch, so we're really happy if you liked it.
Yeah. But for us, it was a miss, and this ending was fucking crazy. It did feel very much like they ran out of time to do this original ending that they wanted, and they just were like, fuck, how are we gonna, what's the cheapest way to wrap this shit up? It just, through everything I read, it seemed so just not like a vision that anybody fought for, you know? I don't know if that makes sense, but this director was talking about why it didn't go to theatrical release and how Warner Brothers didn't really have like the infrastructure or the distribution plan to send out these lower budget movies. And I'm like, bro, that is a fucking lie. They knew this shit was going to flop and they didn't want to put it in theaters. They didn't want to pay for it.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yes.
Like, that's exactly what happened.
Own up.
Right. And he's like, yeah, we're all very happy with it. Like, I hope people like the movie. I hope, like, you can just tell it got pushed through. I mean, I think there were problems from the get-go. I think there were problems with the script, right? And then from that point forward, it just got pushed through the meat grinder. And at every step of the way, this guy was just making compromises, right? It actually doesn't feel like he stuck to whatever vision they had. It was like, how much money do we have left? Which makes sense actually from a producer perspective. And this guy, up until this point, had been a producer because you're all about, we can't overspend and we got to keep it under budget and whatever. So it sort of makes sense from that perspective, but it just ended up being kind of a mess. But the thing that's sad about this movie for me, and I don't know if you feel the same way, is that I wish actually that it was so wildly bad that I could recommend that people watch it because it's so fucking crazy to watch. But like you said, it's kind of boring through a large portion of the movie. I do wish almost that it had gotten so bad that it became good again, but we didn't even reach that level. So it wasn't great, and it wasn't so bad that it was good either.
Where you're like, oh my God, we have to watch this. It's fucking insane. And you could just like laugh at it and be like, yes, yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
It's a totally different type of movie. But, I get, Taken. Okay, so here's a movie.
Okay.
Where Liam Neeson.
This is only the second time we've got off on a totally different type of movie.
I know.
Continue.
This is what I'm saying. I know this is supposed to be a comedy and it's jokey, but where you can totally understand the parent torturing the perpetrator and you get it and you're all about it and you're on board. I just didn't see that switch. Not that it was supposed to be as serious as Taken, of course, but with these parents, like there was 100%. No emotion, and all of a sudden they're like, "Yeah." And I'm thinking of something in particular where the mom's like, "Yeah, let's cut off his toes and then blend them and make him drink it." Yeah, okay. What? Like, at least the dad was having issues with what he was doing. I just thought, and that's supposed to be funny because it wasn't funny. And now she's just this hardcore killer, but she barely has any range of emotion. It just really bothered me.
Totally.
At least the brother was a creep already. We already know he was a little creep.
Right.
And so he's kind of getting off on this. Okay, yes. At least we know that.
Yes, I agree that they did not have any time to flip, and they didn't. The only thing that they planted as a seed in the beginning of the movie was her talking to him about like, sometimes you have to let your primal self take over. You can't bottle everything up, blah blah blah. That's it. That's all that we get in terms of, oh, we're gonna flip later. And so I agree. It's totally unearned as a flip for the family to go and decide that they're gonna like kill and torture somebody, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Yeah. Secondly, I do want to say, like, actually, as far as that goes, with the brother, I do get why he's there, because he is supposed to be this, like, delinquent, like, he's there for the party. He's down to clown. He wants to torture and kill somebody. And I do feel like if somebody were to take this movie and redo it, it could be miles and miles better than it is.
Yes, I agree.
I kept feeling like as I was watching it, I was like, there's something here. And if somebody were to just take this idea and flesh it out, cut some shit, change some of the lines, get a better director, better actors, maybe like something could be molded here into a better version of this. And so just to reiterate, or not to reiterate, but to go back on what I said earlier, I think you could keep that brother in, actually, in a special set of circumstances, and he would serve a much better purpose in the movie had this been redone.
Yes, I agree, because you have the dad who's against it, but wants revenge. Any parent would. But it's not like he's a murderer, right? It wouldn't be that easy. And then you have the brother he's egging on, and then you have so both of them are able to kind of turn the dad. This character is able to kind of amp up the mom, but the mom, I'm just going to go back one more time. Sorry, guys. There was and I remember liking this actress in other movies, and I know she was in that one movie, Stir of Echoes, but I remember, not disliking her in other movies she's been, and I think she's been in a lot of stuff. But she just, it was so deadpan, it was so nothing, that it was so boring. I'm so mad. I'm looking at my hand right now, picturing her performance. It was just such a huge miss. I didn't believe anything that was going on with her, and I just wish she would stop talking. Whereas, let's say the detective, I didn't particularly like him. There were certain parts where I was, oh, okay, and then I also thought it felt forced. But you could see there was like a bloodlust with him. There was like a weird darkness with him.
Yeah.
There was you know what I mean? So if she was like that, or not necessarily like him, but if there was something more to her, was something more to her that would make you go, okay, she flipped. There was like nothing.
This is something deep inside her, or something. Yes, totally. Like, what if she was, also obsessed with true crime or something, you know what I mean? Like something.
Yeah, that would be great. I know she mentioned something about the arsenic pizza.
I don't know.
But again, that felt like a throwaway to me.
Yeah.
It was like in the very beginning, she's ordering dinner and she mentioned something about there being arsenic. Can you believe it? Rat poison in the pizza. And then they order pizza. So I didn't really understand all of that. But if they made her more of like, how about an over-the-top true crime junkie?
Yeah.
Like really obsessed with true crime, I would believe it then.
Totally.
But she just was, I didn't even know what she was. And so now when because she wasn't even like when the dad was like, yeah, Mom, don't apologize. You're a badass. It was almost like maybe she was timid and broke into this badass. Nope, there wasn't that either. There was no breaking from this to that or transition at all. And that was just not a good, maybe if there was a stronger mom character, a more built out character, maybe it would have been a little bit better.
Yeah. I do think there's
it definitely would have been better without her, but
I think there's a handful of things that could happen. You could reform this into a much better movie, a much better version of itself. And that reminded me, as you were talking to earlier, just about one of the other things that I found myself really, really, really not liking is the fact that they tortured and inadvertently killed this brother, because this whole brother thing, I get why it was there, but I was so confused about the way that I should be feeling, and maybe that's like the point or something, but I didn't like it because I felt like, why did they make this guy such a fucking asshole? Is it so that we as the audience don't feel bad when he dies later? Or is it so that we have sympathy for Otis as a character? Like, I don't really. I maybe have like the tiniest tiny bit of sympathy for Otis because he seems very sad and also abused by his brother. But not that bad. Like, he's fucking kidnapping, and like that's another one of those things that doesn't match. I feel a little bit bad for him, but I don't feel so fucking bad for him that it overshadows the fact that he's kidnapping and maybe raping and torturing these fucking girls. Like, those things don't match in like their intensity for me.
Yeah.
So
Are
it's
you
like,
saying because his brother mistreats him or puts him down his whole life, that's why he is disgusting?
and it justifies in some way, or that he's not that bad of a guy because of it. You know what I mean? Like, that part
Yeah.
made me feel very conflicted in a very uncomfortable way. Like,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, I get that you're supposed to feel maybe conflicted about some characters sometimes because they're not black and white. They're a little gray. They got some of all kinds of shit going on. This did not feel like that to me. This felt misguided, right?
Yeah.
Like, I was just not here for that. And then even there's just this added element of, they accidentally kill him. And we're just supposed to, as an audience, like, totally fucking, like, move past that. I couldn't. It's one of those things that when I see somebody die who is unintended to die, it's too dark for me. I can't move past it. And so the fact that for the rest of the movie, we're just like, yeah, that happened. I just was like, what? And why? And what was his purpose? And how are we supposed to feel? Felt so fucking messy.
Yeah, and how about just the crime scene itself? So messy, because I'm thinking the whole time, they're throwing these bags in the dumpster of his body with their hands. They're not wearing gloves. They're mauling it. They're carrying it and throwing it in. Their DNA is all over these bags. Like, that's just the true crime portion. I'm just like, why are you guys even trying? Because you might as well spit and bled all over the place because you are all up in it.
Pulled out some hair, left that behind.
Yeah. Well, because during the crime scene, I thought, like, she had her hair pulled back and they had those outfits on and stuff. And I was like, okay, they're trying to, like, keep their DNA off of the crime scene, but dry hump the garbage bags full of the dead body. Why don't you?
Yeah. And again, I could get why that would be funny, because you're dealing with these people who are so inept. They're so not qualified for this very specific thing. The idea of that is funny, but the execution does not pan out at all. I think that's like one of the things. Yeah,
because how about they kind of are smart about it with how they have outfits and everything and gloves and everything ready, and now all of that's out the window. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it just gets totally dropped, and it's like funny in a different way now. Like, it's too much. It's like too much thrown in there. But I think I like this type of comedy sometimes. And I mentioned this in our episode that we did with Homies of Horror for Cabin Fever. I like that the townspeople come back and they're totally inept and they can't do what they set out to do. And they end up like, spoiler alert for Cabin Fever, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. But they end up like killing each other on accident. Like, that is funny to me. That is funny. I feel like that is such a good example of that type of horror comedy that works for me personally. But this is like just not, it's a miss. It's overall a miss. But that was the one thing left that I was like, I need to mention this because I was so confused by this brother, they killed him subplot, and then nothing happens with that.
Yeah, you're right. They don't get in trouble for it. We wouldn't have gotten the church scene, I guess, but we would have if it was Otis that they had actually killed. Because say it was Otis, it didn't have to be his brother, because the girl ended up saying what the name was. So now the police are coming. Whether he kidnapped your daughter or not, you can't go kill and torture somebody. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I wouldn't. I'm just saying you can't. It's not legal. So they still would have been in trouble. They still would have had to hide it. So everything would have still fit. The camera, the voice, all of those things would have still fit, even if they killed Otis and there wasn't this brother character, because he also didn't, like when she screamed, there was just you're right. There was just really no purpose.
Yeah.
It might have been better if he was just like a really creepy, kept to himself loner guy in his dirty house, you know? Yeah, you're right. There's too many elements.
Or maybe
they didn't work.
They got the brother, but he didn't die. Like, I don't know. It was too far for me of a dark place. It's funny that they capture this person and they don't believe that he is not Otis.
And he's trying to say, I'm not Otis, but she's like, shut up. And
yeah, again, I could see how that could be funny, because that's the running gag in all through Tucker and Dale versus Evil is that there's this miscommunication happening, right? Like, I feel like that inherently is funny, but it just fucking didn't get there.
I thought of them and I laughed.
Yeah.
I really should have rated that movie higher. Tawny, I don't have any other points. I feel like it was a good concept. I feel like this concept could have been a good movie. And I feel like the movie was a train wreck.
Perfectly summed up. Yep. Yep. So, what would you rate it?
Oh, I want you to rate first. All right, so I was really going between a 1 and a 1.5. And I think I'm going to go with the 1.5. That's what I made. That's what I rated Pet Sematary, the remake. Pet Sematary, the remake. And that's a vague memory. But I feel like maybe I would have maybe liked them on the same level. I just remember being more angry at the original Pet Sematary. This is where I'm conflicted. Not original, I'm sorry. I remember being really angry about the remake. Gosh, I was so angry.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember why, really. But I do remember the anger. But that's it. And this one, I didn't have that response. There was just kind of no response. But I guess I would maybe have liked them equally.
Okay.
Like, I can't say, oh, I liked this movie more. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I'm
totally.
going to go with that. I'm going to go with a 1.5.
Okay.
And yeah.
Oh, I want to give this a 1 because, and that's my lowest score to date by a whole point, I think. I don't think I've even given anything lower than a 2.
You haven't gone lower than a 2.
And so part of me is like, maybe I should reserve that for some other stuff that's even worse. And I feel the same way you do, Felicia. I didn't hate it. I didn't like hate it, but I also didn't like it. I think it's a not good movie. It's a bad movie. It's a train wreck. And again, I found some things that I liked, and I think there were some interesting ideas, and overall, I think they had a good concept, and then it was just like through all of the, all of the weeds, it just became a fucking train wreck. So I think I'm going to give it a 1, but I almost feel like we haven't even begun to delve into bad
some really
movies.
Bad stuff.
Yeah, so I guess, you know what, I'll stick with that. I'm going to stick with a 1, and then if we ever get into some truly bad, if I feel like I need to move some shit around, I will, but that's where I'm at. That's what I'm going to rate it as for right now.
Okay, I'm going to rate it, okay, everybody, sorry, I really overthink this. I'm going to go a 1.25, and the reason is because the same, I feel like there's maybe something worse out there. I didn't hate it, but I would not want to watch this again. Pet Sematary 2, I may give it another chance, especially because you loved it. So you gave it a 4.
Yeah.
So I would try to watch it again. I think I was in a really bad headspace. Because I watched it right after Pet Sematary, so I think it was in a really bad headspace. But this one I don't want to see. Like, if people were at my house and they're like, oh man, you know what? I really want to watch Otis. I'd be like, totally on your own time. Not here. Not now. Like, I don't want to give it another chance. I saw it, I experienced it.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I kept thinking maybe I should watch it again today. Sometimes I like to watch it a couple times to try to like write out, by 2 minutes with Tawny or whatever. But I was just like, I don't even want to. Like, it just was, like, meh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And just to clarify, I'm thinking of 0 as a score. Are you? So we have some room. Okay.
Oh yeah, 0 is a score. I have not seen a 0 yet.
I'm sure we will.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, next week, I hope you like the movie we're watching. Oh, but if you don't, no pressure. We're watching Mama. And the only thing I want to say about that, well, I'm going to have a lot of things to say, but so I hadn't seen the movie, but it was out, and there was that whole commercial where Mama. And so I had kids at the time. My oldest were young. I don't even know, because I don't even know when this movie came out. But anyways, I'd fallen asleep. And I think it was my middle daughter, but came in. I was dead asleep, and she goes, Mama. And I screamed. It was such a violent reaction. But because I'm also a really light sleeper, so now they're really nervous to wake. Nobody wants to wake me up because that's how I wake up. But anyways, that was specifically, and they were whispering it because they weren't trying to scare me, but they wanted to be gentle with waking me up. So that's it. They remember that. They were like, oh, you're going to watch that movie where we scared you? And I'm like, yeah, that's what we're going to watch. Mm-hmm. So anyways, Mama's what we're watching.
I'm excited. I haven't seen it. I've heard good things, so I'll lower my expectations so as to not have it be
well,
overhyped.
I remember liking it, but I honestly don't remember a lot about it.
Okay.
I do remember liking it. I do remember some things, but I don't remember a lot. So I just said that and then just repeated it in a different way. So there we go.
Okay.
It's late. All right. So we're watching Mama. Thank you, Tawny's mom and dad, even though it's Mother's Day month, for recommending this movie and this experience. And so you guys can find us at Two Chicks and a Horror Flick everywhere, at Two Chicks and a Horror Flick. Our main hub is Instagram. On Twitter is the only difference, and it's Two Chicks HF. That's our handle. You can also, we have a website and we have a Facebook page, but really, I'm screwing this up. You guys know where to find us. That's where you find us.
We also have a Patreon. If you want
yes, where else, Tawny?
If you want to support the show, you can go to our Patreon. And also, we have a Discord server, both for our Patreon levels, and we have a free level too, just so you can get in there and see any extra links or whatever that we post. Sometimes we'll talk about specific things in the episode that we'll go to the Discord and post about.
Like the bad seed stuff.
Yes.
I posted those videos. I was so proud of myself.
Good job.
Did you watch them?
I did. Yes.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And you're right. It was very weird to watch.
The way they were kind of like talking and stuff, right?
Yeah. It felt like I was watching people act exactly like you said, you know?
Yes. Okay, good.
So you can check stuff out there and chat with us about horror stuff. And if you like this podcast, please give us a rating and review and subscribe wherever you're listening to whatever platform. And if you know somebody who might like this, share it with them. We'd love that too. Yes. And we were on Homies of Horrors podcast.
Yes.
Talking about the Evil Dead remake. So you can go listen. I'm not quite sure when that episode is going to be out, but they are so fucking great. Go check them out. They're great.
So fun. So fun.
That's just my second plug for that. So I think that's it. We will see you next week with Mama. And we hope you have such a good night. No nightmares.